In episode 3 of the studio, a studio executive is terrified to give a director a note on his film. While there's generally nuance to this, these are the terms that actually determine whether or not a studio executive can or can't give notes. First is director's cut. According to guidelines, the director has the first opportunity to assemble their own version of the film. They are allowed to do this within a set window, usually 10 weeks, after which the studio can then give notes. Now, the director has the opportunity to go at it first. It doesn't mean that this will be the final version that ends up in the cinema or streaming platform. Usually, the studio has the opportunity to make some changes. There's a second one people often confuse with this. Sometimes there's a later version of a film that is released, usually longer, and is marketed as director's cut. Now, this is something that is negotiated beforehand with the director, where after an agreed timeline, the director can then release a version of the film that is much closer to their original vision. It's not restricted by the studio, hardly any studio notes or cuts. Exactly what the director intended is then released. And usually that's negotiated with some parameters. So a certain runtime allowance, a certain rating, but the director then has the opportunity to show the world exactly what they would have intended the film to be. You've probably seen this with Rebel Moon, where the first and second part were released theatrically in cinema, and then Zack Snyder was able to release the director's cut on Netflix, which was a more extreme version of both movies. The last one is Final Cut, and studios hardly give this out. It's reserved for people who have box office history and a lot of leverage. It usually means that the director is able to cut and have released whatever they cut without notes from the studio. The studio would rather retain this right because they want to be able to make sure that whatever the final version of the film is as accessible as possible, meaning that it's a cut such that more people can watch it. It's more it's less risque, so not as high a rating as much as possible. And so that's why Final Cut is usually reserved for the best of the best. As most directors cannot get Final Cut, what they get instead is either consultation rights or approval rights. Consultation rights means that the studio has to ask for the director's opinion before making certain changes or certain decisions. Now, the studio can still override this opinion, but they do have to ask. Approval rights, on the other hand, means that the director actually has to approve these changes or decisions before the studio can make them. So based on this, what rights do you think the director in this episode of the studio had? Leave it in the comments.